Hey, what's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Rocky Mountain YouTube channel. I am Chase, and we got a special video today because we are joined with a very special man, the number 27 from the Crossair Energy Husqvarna Racing Team, Mr. Malcolm Stewart. Malcolm, how are you doing?
What's good? What's good? I'm doing good. How about you guys?
Oh, dude, this is a dream come true for me. I've been doing videos for a very long time for Rocky Mountain, and I've always wanted to do rider interviews and not really like a podcast, but I wanted to get more riders on the show and be able to talk more than just like fantasy. I want to talk more about you and your career. And we got a special announcement too for a lot of riders who are keeping up. I'm sure a lot of people have seen you got a new boot on your feet this year, the Sidi Crossair. Let's talk about this guy right here. Tell me this story, because look, I think a lot of people, you were a Garnet boot guy for a long time, and your brother wore Garnets before he retired. He always had the flashy colorways. I think Garnet, in my opinion, was always really good at making you guys awesome colors to fit your gear. I thought it was rad. So I think a lot of us just associated you with Garnet, but I saw you make the switch. I saw it at your press day release at the start of the season. I'm like, oh, Mookie's and Sidi. So tell us how this all came about with the new boot.
Yeah, so for me, it was more so of like, I felt like for me, I just wanted to make a change, right? And, been with the Garnet group, the whole family for a very long time. Great people, everything was good with them. And I just kind of felt like, as a rider, sometimes you just want change, right? You just like, you start to venture out like, man, like, I wonder what these boots would look like on me, with my setup and so on. And the cool thing for me was my helmet sponsor, which is Shoei, but Helmet House is, the distributor for these guys in the US. They were like, hey, Sidi's coming on with us. And would you like to, make a change? And I was like, oh, well, I'm so glad you guys are talking about that. I'm in a contract season. So, okay, let's see what it is. And, it's so funny that, I wore the boot and I was like, wow, okay, like,
Did they have one of these for you to try, like first go, or did you try a different Sidi boot?
No, I remember trying that boot exactly the first time, and I also tried the.
It was a Crossfire 3 and the Tahoe.
Crossfire.
Okay.
Yeah, Crossfire. Yes, right. I get them mixed up sometimes. There's a lot of cross in there.
Yeah.
but anyways, I did try that one, and I was like, I did like that one as well. So for me, I was like, okay, but I do like that was specific boot because I felt for me it was more of the American style, which was the Crossair of it. So I was like, all right, well, how can we make this boot a little bit more, for more of my flavor and things like that? Because I feel that, coming from America, I felt like that was more of an American looking boot.
Okay.
And so I was like, all right. So when we first made the boot, everything went well, and then we started kind of modifying. And and the cool thing about Sidi was they were willing to modify some of the toe and stuff. I ain't gonna lie, I'm flat footed, right? That's just me. I got duck feet, okay? So I'm straight up, I'm flat footed. So it was more comfortable for me. And the way I like the grip and the ride and things like that. Plus, I thought the 3-buckle thing was great. I did like that. And so just some of the little key factors of that I did like about this boot versus the Garnet. Again, I'm not saying that I'm not shying at Garnet isn't a great boot, but I felt that Sidi was the best boot for me to move what I liked on the way of the motorcycle I was riding and things like that. So that's why I felt for me was the Sidi was a better direction on my side of the things. And ever since then, I've been so happy with it.
Yeah. So just to give the viewers a little feedback too, if you kind of learn about this boot for the first time, so Sidi had what they called their Tahoe, and they've always been known for their replaceable sole. But the Crossair is they took their Tahoe boot, and for the first time, Sidi's doing more of a molded sole, which this was my favorite part of the boot. One, and maybe you can comment on this, Malcolm, this thing is incredibly light. It's the lightest premium boot that we sell. I've weighed them all back to back, and it's a noticeable difference how light this feels when you put it on.
Well, due to the fact that we had so many mud races in Supercross, that actually kicked in.
So yeah, when I put them on, very free feeling, like it locks the ankle in well. But this, so the Fox boots for me had always had the most range of motion, like right out of the box. These are like on a different level where it's supportive, but it's like for braking and shifting there, you don't need any braking time. The Garnets hold up forever, but that's definitely a boot where you probably don't want a new pair on race day, right? You're like, I need these to break in a little bit. These, Sidi could probably give you these 20 minutes before you got to go do a heat race. You're like, okay, sounds good.
Honestly, there's been so many times that we've had brand new boots and we show up very first practice, and that's how we go. And I think that's why, like, it's just changed, right? And these are little key factors of like that I like as a racer. And again, like, every boot, they all have like their greats and some of the flaws that they don't like. But for me, again, as a racer at the very level professional athlete that I am, I feel that this is the most comfortable, safest boot for me. Okay. Now, again, I do like, as we get faster and things like that, the breaking point shifting, a lot of us, especially on Supercross, you got to have a boot that flexes a lot, because you're always kind of, I couldn't tell you how many times we do like the shifting on a table on, table off, just little things like that. So right. It's just always good to have a boot that has like the flex and things like that, or in case you get into a point, but you don't want it where it's too soft, but you want it where it's just stiff enough to take some impact. And again, I can tell you that it's a great boot because I cased Larocco's league pretty bad. There was no issue. So, but it's just, it's a boot that I would say I definitely, I'm not saying this just because, I'm sponsored by them. I was blown away with this boot and how they made it. And I always felt that it's going to be a boot that's going to be around for a long time. It's going to compete through and through, not only just over here in the US, but even over there international.
Nice. Yeah, another thing too, so for, again, viewers watching, in my opinion, so they have this little insert right here between the two lower buckles. If you didn't have that, this boot would almost feel like too soft because it's got so much flex. But this just gives you that little extra, you feel it. When your ankle flexes, you can feel this thing kind of help slow that down a little bit. So it's kind of like just the right amount of support, but not making the boot feel too stiff like you were just talking about. And the feel on the foot pegs on this, so I've ridden the Crossfire 3 with that thicker SRS sole. Right. To me, that sole is just a little too thick, kind of hard to feel the controls. This one, though, to me, I was like, man, like now I got that feel on the pegs and the brake pedal that you want in a performance boot, right? Because you got to know, for me, I got to feel like I know how hard I'm dragging my rear brake, right? So you don't actually lock it up accidentally, stuff like that. So, yeah, it's been solid, man. And you said,
another thing I can touch on that boot too, it's also skinny.
Yeah.
It's also like really like, when you look at it, it's pretty skinny. So when you're riding up and down with your Chris, with the gripping on the frame and things like that, you always feel where your foot's at. That is one of the cool things that I liked about that boot versus some of the other boots. When they're all kind of bulky, you start to kind of, especially when you mud races and things like that, when they start adding the foam by the brake pedals and all that, it just starts, everything just gets more wider and wider. And I always felt like, man, like I just want something where I can always just feel where my foot's at, or if it's on the foot pegs, sliding back, things like that. So, that was like again, these are certain things that I felt that was the best for me. And that's one of the things I like about it.
Okay. Is there if Sidi were to come to you today and say, hey, Malcolm, after riding in the boot for almost an entire year, is there anything that you want or you would change about the boot at this point?
Man, honestly, there's much that I wouldn't want to change because I was so pretty happy right off the rip. Like I was pretty happy right off the rip. I mean, and again, we did make some changes, like, and very, very small changes, like you said, with the bending and things like that, with the flex, some of the things that I had a little bit even more flex, and sometimes I felt that I just needed less. And these are just small little things, but after I dialed it in, the kind of where I was, the boot came out of production the way I really liked it. So I didn't have any changes, but again, one of the things that I loved about the CD is they were willing to make these changes. They're willing to help, or willing to do anything. They come to me. They always call me and ask me, hey, is there anything else you want? Whatever, things like that. Versus some of the other companies that I worked on the previous, they're just like, yeah, our boot's good. You're good to go.
Here you go. This is your boot.
What you got? So I think like that being more connected with a company that is willing to take your feedback and willing to make those changes, not only for your personal self, but they know that if I'm willing to make these changes for myself, it's only going to make the production line and stuff like that better for the average rider. So I think that was the coolest thing, is being more connected with a company like that and willing. I was like, dude, that goes way further than me than just somebody who's just going to give you a boot off the rack and say, hey, here you go. It is what it is. You got to deal with it.
Yeah, and I had a conversation with some people in Italy when they were kind of prepping me on just the details of the boot, and they mentioned 15 different sole compounds that they were testing just to get that part right. In fact, they had these boots on the water shipping, and then they recalled all of them because they decided that you were going through soles too fast. And I was like, well, Malcolm's maybe not the best tester because he's blasting Supercross whoops. Like I said, the load.
That's exactly what we were. We were going through some bottom soles. I'm like, hey, we're going through some soles. And they're like, they would send another one. They're like, try this and try that one. I was like, all right, yeah, this one made a few weeks. And then I was like, okay, like we're gonna make a major change, and that, boom, like it was like that. So yeah, you are right. They did make some pretty gnarly changes on that, but other than that, like I think there was just a bottom part that they were just trying to figure out. But
yeah,
it was so funny because I was like, dude, this sole is amazing. Like it may not hold up as what you want, but dude, it felt so great, dude. Like it was like I don't know, I couldn't even explain. Like it was like walking on clouds, right? And they're like, yeah. I was like, this would be a perfect main event boot. Like you pull up to the main event, like, bro, we throw this boot on, like it's already don't even need broken in because we can already break it in there. That's what the good news about the boot. And I was like, yo, this is a perfect main event boot. Like perfect.
It's like that spec tire. It's like, this is perfect, but we're gonna have to take it off after one race.
Yeah, exactly. So, but no, again, I think that was the coolest part of working with a company like that. It's not only just for those little issues, but like just them willing to do whatever they took to make it right, instead of just slapping on another sole and say, oh, this is what the best we got. It's gonna last, 6 months. We're gonna try to make a sole that you like, that's raceable, that you still have all the feeling that the other, that the other one did, and they created it pretty quickly and fast. And I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, no, I told him, I was like, I don't know if, I said, the amount of load that Malcolm's putting on a foot peg into a sole going through a Supercross whoop is not anything that a weekend warrior is ever going to be able to accomplish. So, but it's cool that they were like, hey, if Malcolm Stewart's blowing through these soles, imagine how much more durable it's going to be for the consumer that's not as hard on a sole as he's going to be. So that's good to know.
Yes, definitely.
All right. Well, yeah. So for viewers out there, again, I do want to say too, the fit, it's what Sidi boots are known for being super narrow. I have a little bit of a wider foot. I'm assuming you as your duck feet over there, probably pretty wide.
Duck feet. I'm just gonna let everybody know I got duck feet.
It is a pretty generous toe box width. So for people that maybe are scared of that, this boot to me has got plenty of width in the toe box.
No, I was gonna say, well, if you got a thick sock or not, I do think that's definitely, it's comfortable in there all the way through.
Absolutely. All right, man. Well, hey, thank you for that feedback on the boot. Stoked to see you wearing it. Like I said, it was kind of like, I was like, oh my gosh, like Malcolm's not in the Garnets, but here you are in the Sidis, and you're kind of like the sole rider right now that's been repping this boot all year long. And I know Sidi, they're trying to make a bigger presence in the U.S., and what better rider to do it than you? And we just need to get you on that podium so we can have you shouting out the boots and all that.
We're getting close. We got close. So, hey, it ain't over yet. Year ain't over yet. We still got 4 more races to go.
I love it, man. Malcolm Stewart, number 27, Rockstar Energy Husqvarna Racing Team, flag sole rider right now for the new Sidi Crossair boot. If you guys are boot shopping, looking at a premium option, SMX playoffs are coming up. Let's get you up there on that box. Let's get that win.
Dude, it's coming, man. It's gonna come.
Okay.
It's gonna come. So,
and you've led laps to Anaheim 1, so 2025. Let's lead laps and let's seal the deal this time.
We're about to lead laps this weekend. What you mean?
Okay, man, I like that.
Bro, hey, bro, we still got 4 more races to go. Hold on now. Don't cut me short now.
Hey, man, we appreciate you. Good luck with everything you got going
you're
on.
like, you'll be all right. 2024, it was a good run. You'll be all right, bro. Just get through the season.
All right.
Get off season. We'll see you at Anaheim. You'll be all right.
I deserve that. I deserve that. Let's put it on the box this weekend at Ironman.
There we go.
Let's get that shout out for the sponsors. Let's get some whips for the fans, and then let's come around Charlotte. I'll see you there doing Race Day Live, man. You betcha I'm gonna come over and talk to you.
And we're gonna have enough gas money for the boat.
There we go. Hey, man, we appreciate you. Thanks for taking the time, Malcolm.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll see ya.